Welcome back to the Cozy Rosy Crochet channel, and today I'm sharing with you the brim variation to create this gingerbread inspired Christmas hat. All my Christmas hats with this really cute fold over pom-pom feature the same basic hat pattern. It's all about the colours that you're using. So for this one I have used like a soft fudge and then highlighted and a little bit of mock Ric Rac to create this gingerbread inspired Christmas hat that is nice and subtle. So if you're not one for going all out on Christmas, this cute little Ric Rac brim will mean that you can get away with feeling festive without shouting it in everybody's faces. So this is the elf brim version, which you can find over on the channel already, and this video is going to be for the Ric Rac version. I've got that pom-pom up there just to show you that one day it will be complete. So I'm going to be showing you today just the brim section. I've linked in the top right hand corner and in the description box below where you can find the actual hat pattern to make your own Christmas hat, and then this video will help you complete your brim. The materials that I've used for these patterns is an Aran weight yarn. In today's video I'm going to be finishing off the Ric Rac in this Stylecraft special Aran in shade cream. I like the cream effect for the gingerbread rather than a white because icing is never truly white. And then I've done a pom-pom to match the Ric Rac as well. There's a separate tutorial on how I make my pom-poms and get them as even as possible. So you should have your hat made. As a reminder, that link for the basic hat pattern is in the video description box below, and you should be ready to continue on to working your gingerbread hat brim. The other two styles of brim change colour at this point, but we're not going to be changing colour just yet. And this is my hat at the end of adding all the height, and I'm at the end of that final row. So we need to join at that final row into the first stitch of the round. So we're just going to join with a slip stitch, and importantly we are then going to turn and work on with the inside of our hat facing us. Probably not going to need your stitch marker for this round, but I probably will pop mine back in. So we're going to continue round one of our gingerbread brim by making a chain of one, and we start this round working into just the back loops of our stitches. So you can see where we've just joined, so we need to work into that. Let me just bring my yarn around. So you can see that that's where we've joined, and this is our first stitch here. Normally we go underneath the stitch, but to help the brim fold and stay folded really well, we're just going to work into the back loops only of this round. So we're going to yarn over, ready to work, and then we insert through the middle of the stitch to pick up just that back loop. There's the front loop, there's the back loop. We're going through the middle of the stitch to pick up that back loop. We yarn over and pull through all three loops, and we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each back loop around. If you need to, just pop your stitch marker back through your first stitch so that you're confident about coming back around to it. This round is pretty simple once you've got your back loops going, and you can see by leaving that front loop unworked, it makes our brim fold up all by itself and gives a really neat edge to the bottom of our hat. So for the remainder of round one, we are simply working 1 half double crochet into the back loop only of each stitch around. Continue around working those back loop half double crochets, and I'll meet you once you've worked all the way back around to your stitch marker. So once you've worked all the way back around to your stitch marker, you can probably see how this brim automatically folds over, and you should have the right side of your hat showing, but we've just worked on the wrong side so that the right side of our brim folds up against this outside of our hat. At the end of round one, you should have the following stitch counts, and these are reasonably important because to create our Ric Rac, we need to be able to divide the numbers up evenly. So for the preemie size, you should have 39 half double crochets. The newborn will have 45, baby sizes will have 51, toddlers will have 54, child size will have 60, small adult and teen will have 66, the medium adult will have 69, and the large adult will have 75 half double crochets. Now we're not joining this round, we're just continuing in our continuous spiral. So we're going to yarn over and ready to work our first stitch of round 2. And for round 2, we just yarn over, ready to work into that first stitch, working a half double crochet. And we're going to work 1 half double crochet. We're working into both loops of our stitch again now. And I'm just going to mark my first stitch of the round. So I'm looking through my camera and it's a bit difficult to see sometimes. Oh, they match. Okay, and we're just going to continue to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch around, maintaining that stitch count so that we can make sure we've got enough stitches to divide up for our Ric Rac in a couple of more rounds. So continue around for round 2, working 1 half double crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you to continue on. So once you've worked all the way around, preemie, newborn, baby, toddler and child sizes are continuing straight on to work their Ric Rac, but the small, medium and large adult are going to continue on to work a couple more rounds just to add a bit more height to their brim. So for a small adult, you're going to repeat round 2 just once more for a total of 3 rounds, and then the medium and large adult are going to work rounds 3 and 4, repeating round 2. For the rest of us, all those smaller sizes, we're going to go straight into our Ric Rac. And then once those larger sizes have worked those additional rounds, they could meet us at the Ric Rac, and we're going to work together to finish those off. So the first thing we're going to do when we go into our Ric Rac, this is round 1 of our Ric Rac, we actually need to join that final round of adding that brim before we change colour. So I am using, for my colour B, I have that cream. I'm going to place the yarn over the hook and just bring it through, and then I can pull on that colour to hold it tight. So once you've got your new colour joined, we start with a chain of 4, and that chain 4 counts as our first double crochet of round 1 and a chain 1. We're then going to also work into where we've just joined. We're going to work a US double crochet. Now I just pull on my brown tail and I can see where I've joined, so reinserting into that same stitch to work a double crochet, and that creates our first V stitch effectively. We're then going to skip the next 2 stitches before working into the next. So we skip 1, skip 2, I've yarned over ready, inserting into that next stitch or third stitch along, we're going to work a double crochet, a chain 1, and then another double crochet into that same stitch to work another V stitch. We're going to repeat this all the way around to our last 2 stitches. So I always yarn over ready, we skip 1, skip 2, and then work our V stitch into the next, which is a double crochet, a chain 1, and another double crochet, all into that same stitch. Skip 1, skip 2, and work your V stitch into the next. So that's double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. We're going to repeat this all the way around to our last 2 stitches, and that's where I'm going to meet you. So once you've worked all the way around, you should be back to that first funny looking V stitch. Don't worry, I just need to pull my tails in and it looks a bit better. And you should have 2 stitches remaining. We're going to skip those last 2 stitches and we're slip stitching to the 3rd chain that we made initially. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I feel automatic. So 1, 2, 3. We're joining into that 3rd chain that we made back at the beginning of the round. And I'm trying to pick up 2 loops. It just gives a bit of a neater look. And we are slip stitching to join. And that completes the Ric Rac element. Let's tighten that up a bit. Of the brim. I'm going to change back to colour A, and I haven't fastened off, so I'm just going to bring the yarn up and slip stitch through, and then we are ready to continue on to round 2. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the next chain 1 space that we made at the beginning of that Ric Rac. We can then make a chain of 1 and we are ready to start working our next round. We are simply working between the V's, and we are working 3 single crochets into each V around. So that's 3. So it's going to look a little bit heavy, but it will straighten out as we go. The important thing to note is that is not a chain 1 space. That's your stitch, and it's between the V's we're working these 3 single crochets. So we're going to skip that stitch, working into the chain 1 space, working 3 single crochets. So it looks a little bit like that. It's going to help that Ric Rac really stand out. So we skip the stitches, working into the chain 1 space, working 3 single crochets. Skip that space, we're working into the chain 1 space in between the V's. So once we've worked into each chain 1 space around, remember that last bit is not a chain 1 space, we're going to join to the top of that first stitch that we made to join the round, and then we're ready for round 3. So we start with a chain of 1. We're going to work 1 half double crochet into the top of each stitch around for round 3, and we're just simply working 1 half double crochet into each stitch around. That will help straighten up our V-stitches and really help make our Ric Rac a little bit more impactful. So continue around, working 1 half double crochet into each stitch. I have fastened off my cream and it's all tangled. And I'm going to meet you back at the beginning of the round. If you haven't passed, pop your stitch marker in. Yeah, just work 1 half double crochet into the top of each stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So once you've worked into the top of each stitch around, we're going to slip stitch to that first stitch again to join. And for adult sizes, small, medium and large, you're going to repeat round 3 just once more to add on a little bit more height onto your brim. You can see on this one I've done an extra couple of rounds as well, just to make it extra tall. So this is an adult size and I have the child size here, quite a size difference, but they still have the same really cute Ric Rac look. So once you have worked all your rounds of your brim and added on the height that you want, obviously you can make it a little bit taller if you want to, you can simply fasten off and you are ready to weave in your ends. Let's just make magic and tuck that in for a moment and flip it over. It is entirely up to you whether or not you add a really cute pom-pom. I absolutely love them. And this huge pom-pom is going on to this child size hat because it will really help the fold, because your head actually sits about here and this will fold over to create that perfect kind of gingerbready look. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial to make your own gingerbread hat Ric Rac brim. I hope that you have enjoyed making your own Christmas hats, and I will see you in the next video.